Hello, how are you? I am Diego Aguinsaca, and today we are going to learn all about compressors for laser machines. Today we are in Guadalajara, Mexico, at one of the laser power distribution centers. And here we have the three compressors that we sell the most for each laser machine. First, we have the smallest compressor in the family, the X1.0 compressor, which is generally used for machines of 1000 or 1500 watts. Next, we have this tremendous compressor, the D3.0, which we generally use for machines of 6000 watts. It could also be used with 3000 watts, but ideally, it is for 6000 watts. And finally, the compressor, let's say a medium-sized one, the R2.0 compressor, which is used to work with 3000 watt machines. Now let's look at the differences. Well, let's start with the general characteristics of all three compressors. The X compressor family has the characteristic of being 4-in-1. If you observe, all our compressors consist of the compressor, a dryer, the tank, and the filter line with 4 front filters and a rear filter, basically everything that the airline needs to work ideally with a laser. Speaking of the features of this compressor, what makes it special is that it is a single-phase compressor, although it is also referred to as a two-phase 220. This means it only requires a 220 line to operate. It does not need three-phase power. It can supply a pressure of up to 12.5 bars at the output, and obviously, its characteristics allow it to maintain that output pressure consistently, as well as provide quite clean air because it has 5 filters. Additionally, it features an energy-saving system with a BDF and motor speed control, which allows me to reduce the speed when the laser machine is not being used at maximum capacity, thus saving energy. Basically, these are the characteristics, and they are generally ideal for working with machines of 1500 watts. We generally equip it with the FORZA 1, and the compressor helps me cut black steel, stainless steel, brass, and copper. Well, basically all the range of materials that the laser works with, except for thick black steel, for which I do need oxygen. Next, the characteristics of this compressor are not very common because it has 12.5 bars, which is a much higher pressure than what we find in the general market. Generally, there are 6 or 8 bars. Also, the line of filters is special because we have 5 filters. In fact, the last one is an activated carbon filter to ensure that the air comes out completely clean, as small particles of water, dust, and oil can drastically interfere with the cutting. And lastly, it's BDF control to maintain a constant pressure, since if we have too many pressure differences, it will affect the cutting. This is what makes this line of compressor special for working with lasers. We continue with the largest compressor in the family, the D3.0. An ideal compressor for working with 6000 watt machines. What makes this compressor so special is that it has a pressure output of 20 bars, which is obviously much higher than what we find in the industry, which we mentioned is around 6. But I want to talk about why pressure is so important in these compressors. When we work with laser cutting, what the laser does, what the light does, is melt the material it is cutting, melting the steel. But the support gas, whether air, nitrogen, or oxygen, helps me eliminate that melted material. Obviously, the higher the pressure, the more forcefully that material will be released, and the cut will be cleaner. Unlike oxy-fuel cutting or plasma, maintaining a constant and quite high pressure really guarantees us a very good cut. That's why this compressor has an output of 20 bars. Just like the entire X family of compressors, it has its 4 components in one, right? In this case, there is a double tank. We also have the compressor that is 30 HP, the corresponding dryer, and the line of filters located at the back. And finally, we have the R2.0 compressor here, a compressor that is actually one of the best sellers from FORZA Laser. ideal for working with 3000 W machines. This compressor reaches a pressure output of 16 bars, has a 20 HP motor, and it is important to emphasize that all compressors in the X line are screw compressors, so they are quite silent. In fact, although it may seem hard to believe, I can turn it on right now and you will see that the sound is not too loud for a compressor that gives me 16 bars. In fact, the dryer sounds louder than the compressor, which we will also start up. Ready. Just a small output, and that's it. This will be the maximum sound we will hear because we are in the startup phase. Once the compressor starts to reach the output pressure, it begins to decrease its speed. And obviously, also the sound that you heard. This controller is a touch controller, and here I can see the entire operation of the compressor. Here I have the start button. For example, here I can see the power at which it is currently operating, 5.1 kilowatts, and it is decreasing because the pressure is already rising. Look, 15.7 bars. Remember that this is rated for 16 bars. These types of compressors also have their alarm systems to prevent pressure overloads and to alert me, for example, when the dryer is not functioning correctly. And water can enter my filtration line. Those are the general characteristics. Right now, we are going to take a little look inside it so you can check it out. Well, here is basically the motor controller. Over here we have the electrical control line and obviously our controller. And well, here we have, for example, the gas and liquid separator tank. In the back, there are some pressure gauges, the motors, and obviously everything is made with quality piping. The motor also has an extended warranty of up to 4 years. And the most important thing is that they are designed to work with laser machines. Well, these have been the general differences of the X compressor family, and that is all for today. I want to clarify something. In fact, we launched our own line of compressors a couple of years ago because a long time ago, when we worked with our initial clients, there were too many cutting problems due to poor air supply. Generally, customers would call us and say, "Hey, Forza One, your machine is not cutting well," and things like that. And many times, it was an issue with the air, whether it was the filters or the air pressure that was not maintained. In other cases, the pressure was very low. That is precisely why we launched this line of compressors ideal for working with laser cutting. I hope you have learned a lot about compressed air. If you want to learn more, don't forget to follow us and subscribe to the FORZA Laser channel. See you soon. Bye.